Hello, chronic illness warriors. My name is Dawn Super, and I help people cope with chronic illness and pain. I have 9 of my own disorders, plus. They're listed in the caption if you're interested. Today, I'm doing some more in my series, What Happens If I Don't?, where I look back at how deciding not to do something helped me cope with my disorders better. Today is inspired from actual events that just recently took place. So it's called What Happens If I Don't Participate in the Emotions of Others? Also known as If I Don't Let Other People's Moods Affect My Symptoms. If this is one of the first videos of mine you're watching, you're probably wondering why I'm talking about emotions connected to chronic illness. One of the things I discovered in my 38 years of chronic illness. I've had symptoms of narcolepsy since I was 11. I have to cough, sorry. Still getting over something as usual. And my train of thought just left the station. Okay, emotions can affect your symptoms. If you don't feel good about yourself, your situation, where you're at in life, it creates a heaviness on you and it exacerbates your symptoms. So the better you can feel about yourself and your life and the people in it and what you do for a living and how you walk through the world, the easier it is to keep going beyond coping into thriving and loving your life. So I seek to shoot these videos to get you to think about something that you may not have thought about before. And a lot of people have written and told me the difference that it made to change their perspective in that way. So that's why I do these every day before I go do my day thing. So I've talked before about a study I read a long time ago. I call it one of the 11 primarily because I don't know what it was actually called. That was a long time ago. I don't remember. It was an experiment where they took a person waiting for an appointment and they sent in another person who started complaining about the traffic, the weather, the wait, whatever. And it didn't take long until this person got this person complaining right along with them. So new people, 2 people waiting in the room, and here comes the negative person. And it didn't take long until all the people were being negative together. So they had to go up to 11, and I don't even have enough fingers to do this. They had to go up to 11 people waiting before that one negative Nelly didn't take down the whole room with people complaining. So I encourage everybody to be one of the 11, even if you're by yourself. And you can do it. It's very normal to participate in emotional contagion. You can look that up. It's scientific. If one person is bringing down all these people are catching the emotion of this person, which is emotional contagion. In stadiums, you see it, rah, everybody's happy, concerts, woo, everybody's excited. And then you see like a fight break out, and then it comes all around. People catch the emotions of other people. And when you're chronically ill or an empath, this can affect you a lot more than if you are neither of those two. So empath, if you've never heard the word, I should write it down so you know how to spell it. It's different from empathy, which is what you express. An empath, that's how you spell it. Hopefully that's not backwards. It's not usually. Tired today, so processing power is down. Consider yourself warned. All right, so I'm going to link in the comments to a page on my blog that has a link to a quiz and information about a book about being an empath. If you've never heard of it, you can take the quiz. It doesn't cost anything, and it'll only take a few minutes of your time. If you find you're an empath, or if you already know you're an empath, you should start doing some research on protecting yourself as an empath. Throw it right into the Google search in quotes, protecting yourself as an empath. And then just read some of the posts, data, blog sites, articles, whatever you want to call them, the results from Google. Just read some of them, especially if you resonate with being an empath. There are so many things outside of yourself that affect your symptoms, and you don't even realize how much they can until you read about it and you're like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I've been going through. And then you can find ways to slip things in and put it through the U filter and find your way to more coping. Empaths classically attract narcissists, which causes even more problems for our symptoms, because if you're chronically ill, you have a tendency to have a lower confidence, lower self-esteem, etc. And those narcissists just swoop in there and take advantage of the fact that you like to love people and be good to people. So if you identify as an empath, do that search, protecting yourself as an empath. You won't regret it, I promise. So it's normal for anyone to participate in emotional contagion, and empaths are kind of forced to participate in emotional contagion in a way, because we feel the feelings of other people. It's not just watching them feel a certain way. We can actually feel it inside of our bodies. So, knowing yourself, and I talk about this a lot, if you know yourself, it's a lot harder for other people to convince you you're something that you're not. Knowing yourself will help keep you, like, how do I feel? How do I want to feel? And if you're feeling something else, then you can be like, hey, I feel great right now. Why am I getting angry? And then you can realize the person near you, next to you, beside you is getting angry and you're feeling it. And you can learn to separate yourself from that. So I just got back from 10 days in Maui, which was lovely. I was sick for a lot of them, but being sick in paradise is still paradise. So laid on the beach and just did the best I could. We flew home the day before Thanksgiving, which is the busiest travel day of the year, according to the news, and we were flying into LAX. So we got to the airport extra early. Security was a breeze. We didn't have to wait very long. We didn't wait for boarding. We didn't wait for takeoff. Everything was on schedule. The flight wasn't too bad. I couldn't sleep, but other than a bout of restless leg, I was fairly comfortable. And we landed on time, and it was a good landing. Like all you could really ask for. So we had no idea what LAX was going to look like. They made it sound like scrambled eggs on the news, but it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was 9 o'clock at night, and there didn't really seem to be that many people in the airport. We got our baggage fairly quickly. We went outside in the flyaways, to wait for the flyaway sign, and we made sure we were in front of the one for Van Nuys. And buses came and went, not for the flyaway, and then finally a flyaway pulled up. And we'd been traveling for 12 hours, and it was 9 o'clock at night, and it was raining, and we got on the flyaway, and I got on first and jumped into a seat, and my husband got on, and the guy would not stow the luggage. We had a 50-pound suitcase. Now, side note here, 2 people went to Hawaii for 10 days with one suitcase that weighed 50 pounds. And that makes your travel journeys a lot easier when you have chronic illness, to travel with less. So work on that minimalism, it really helps. So we take off on the flyway, and I can tell my husband is mad. Like, I can feel him from the back of the bus that he's angry. And he's got the suitcase, and it's a shuttle, so it's super bumpy. And this Mario Andretti driver is hitting like every pothole along the way. And I text my husband because he was too far back for me to communicate with him. And he didn't answer me. So at this point, I know he's not happy. And I start doing my whole, I live in here. This is where I live. Yes, he's angry. No, I can't do anything about his angry. So I'm just going to keep living in here. And the flyaway, I couldn't figure out why the guy was taking surface streets instead of the freeway. And finally I realized when he stops that it's the Hollywood flyaway. He didn't announce that when we got on the flyaway, and all the stops are listed on the sign, so I was under the assumption the shuttle was going to make all the stops. But no, that was not how it works out. And I wasn't the only person who thought that, because there was another lady who realized a little bit sooner than I did, a lot bit sooner than I did, and was arranging for another trip. So the flyaway stopped. We're in downtown Hollywood at 10 o'clock at night, and this shuttle is going nowhere. So I went into my problem-solving mode. I got the guy to let me keep the tickets, thinking I could get a refund, but apparently they don't do refunds. And I got off the shuttle, and the first thing I did was get onto Uber and arrange for a car to come and pick us up. Meanwhile, I'm outside arranging the Uber, and my husband is dealing with his displeasure with the shuttle driver, which he's totally entitled to do. He's allowed to live his life the way he wants to do it. And I just choose to not participate in that. I don't feel like yelling at the shuttle driver is going to accomplish anything for me. So I'm solving the problem the way I need to solve the problem. And I separate myself from him. Of course, I've got his back. If something happened, I would be right there for him. But his path was different than mine in that moment. And it's really important that you let yourself do that when you have chronic illness, especially if you consider yourself an empath. Because if I got angry and yelled at the shuttle driver right along with him, both of us would have been in an elevated state, and we still wouldn't have a solution. We still would be standing on the side of the street in downtown, right by the Pantages Theater, not the best of neighborhoods, and we couldn't do that. So he got off the shuttle, and I told him, Uber's going to be here in 3 minutes. It's fine. I'll get a refund for the tickets. It'll only cost us an extra $10 and an hour of our life and all the pain from having to bump around in this awful shuttle ride. But we were safe, and we had a solution, and we would hopefully be home by midnight, and we were. So when something happens and someone is mad, sad, upset, what have you, take the time to process that they can have their feelings. They can deal with the thing however they want to deal with the thing. One of my favorite quotes is, "Everyone deserves the dignity of walking their own path." So I'm not going to try and change what he wants to experience, because that's his choice. I can only control the soundtrack in my own cockpit. I've got to pilot this meat suit. And when this meat suit gets mad, my adrenaline spikes, and it affects all of my fibro trigger points, and everything starts hurting. So I need to stay calm. I need to be zen. I cannot be flying off the handle on the side of the road at 10 o'clock at night. It's not good for me to do that, so I choose not to. I think that was all that I wanted to say. Um, a few minutes after we got picked up by the Uber, Steve started calming down. And by the time we got home, he was fine. And so it's good to let your partners go through their thing. It's good to control your own thing. Um, I was able to have a decent day the next day because I didn't participate. So, what happens if I don't participate in the emotions of others? I feel better. That's like almost always the answer, isn't it? If you want to skip the rest of my videos, if you want to answer all the questions and what happens if I don't insert here thing, I feel better. And that's why I make these videos, because who knew not getting mad would make you feel better? Who knew not complaining would make you feel better on the whole? Who knew not living on coffee and cookies for 41 years would make you feel better? But it did. It all did. And I have 9 disorders. I'm coping with symptoms 24/7. And I'm happy. I love my life. And I have a great time with my life. And I want to share it. And I want other people to be able to find their way there too. So, if you made it this far, thank you. You're a real champion. Feel free to comment, I made it. And then you'll see you're the only one who does. I'm just kidding. I have a lot of fun making these videos. So hopefully you enjoy watching them. And hopefully you're doing your own experiments. What happens if you don't? I'll be back tomorrow, symptoms permitting. Make it a great day, warriors. The choice is always yours.